From inner space to cyberspace, and maybe one day to hyperspace. Welcome back, everyone. We are back on a Monday here. It is Monday, September 18th, Artist Journal, broadcasting from the editor's desk on the pirate ship of the mind. I was thinking, what joins inner space and cyberspace? Maybe it's the voice. Maybe it's vision. Maybe it's both. Welcome back. And what do we have here? Well, isn't this wonderful? You know, I was like, is this too simple to start with? Is this too simple to start with? Sometimes I think that, right? I almost thought that about Hasdrubal Waffles Champ. I was like, is this too simple to start with? And then I realized, like, it's not about, like, is it complex or simple? And that, Hasdrubal Waffles Champ is not a simple work, actually. But, you know, all to say, and look at this work. I'd argue this is not actually a simple work, but it looks deceptively kind of simple. But what is it that made me say in this kind of newspaper of the imagination that we are constructing here 4 times a week? What is it that made me want to headline this in the newspaper of the imagination? And what it is, I realized, is inspiration. And again, I kind of keep coming back to this, reptilian sort of impact, that when you look at something and it's pre-rational. And this had that. Like when I saw it, it just kind of lit me up. And it's almost like the inspiration of the work. You know, that is almost what happens when you see an inspired work, as you become inspired. As if you're, listening to Greek Homeric poetry. You become inspired as you kind of consume something inspirational and incredible art. So I wonder if that's part of the enjoyment that we get here. And so just on a technical level, of course, this is Cap'n. Cap'n, who has been hitting it out of the park for weeks now, who can't seem to do anything wrong. Remember, the Figments? Who is putting out just daily, like stunning work. And I'll tell you what I like about this. You might kind of laugh. First of all, it was the brilliance of the, what do we have here? It looks like some sort of retro software, right? Where you can paint with pattern, right? You see that? Like, it looks like there's, that's like a classic, almost like early Mac paint, let's say, and painting with pattern. And you see it here. So there is that. I mean, what really kind of, one of the first things that kind of hit me, though, first was kind of like, oh, this is brilliant abstraction using this kind of retro software patterning. But then the thing that hit me after is I love the gray background. It's something that's not done that often, but it has its kind of place. And it was beautifully done here, contrasting beautifully with, it'd be tempting to call this a full-on abstract work, almost like you could hang it in a room with one of Santiago's abstracts, but you have here what looks like a sun almost, maybe just a circle. And I'll tell you what else I like, which is kind of like one of these kind of very poetic touches, which is what is not fixed here, arguably. Perhaps it was put in after, but this red that kind of bleeds over here. This is like the pixel art equivalent of paint splashes or of paint dripping and then you hitting the canvas and you leaving it there and saying, look, it's even more beautiful now. It's like the Impressionists, when they had a paint drip like that, they didn't leave it. It took till probably the 1950s or 60s, till abstract expressionism, for people to start wanting to keep those splashes. So this is, to me, this is like a real sign. I would argue it could be interpreted as a real sign of sophistication as we discuss this, quote unquote, simple work here. There's one other thing I wanted to point out, which is also this use of writing. And it's not just simply put, horizontally. First of all, the actual, what it says, 6K. I mean, it evokes like 4K, but it's like 6K, which is like maybe super high resolution, you might think. And then you see this what you might also call super low resolution pixel artwork, which is maybe 200 by 100 pixels or something, or 250 by 150 pixels. Then we see 6K within this, creating a weird, interestingly, a kind of contrast. between this super high res idea and this low res work, and then put vertically at the top, almost like Robert Rauschenberg style, who would sign the work wherever it looked best. And so kind of almost, there is a Rauschenberg feel to this a little bit. I don't want to overstate it though. So really rad work, and check out the message too. Thanks everyone for following, liking, and sharing my art through this last couple of years. It's been a wild and fun ride. So incredibly, Cap'n, similar to Ed Marola, musicians or people that come out of audio, just working, 2 years, but putting out so much work and and you see them develop so much. You're seeing, again, it's quite something, isn't it? I mean, again, Cap'n, we had him on the Spaces. He was more of a musician. It was a very fun Spaces, by the way. So just very, very cool work here. Cap'n also posted this. This is an older work, but it kind of brought up kind of an interesting issue. This is from Cap'n's gift shop, but it kind of brought up an interesting issue, which is the interpretation that occurs when you are using a reference. Like, to me, I don't know about you, but to me, this looks like it is based on a photo of some kind, right? So then the question becomes, let's say you want to make a pixel art version of a cigarette in an ashtray, and, a little bit of smoke coming up here beautifully in pink. Well, how are you going to do it? Are you going to trace it? Are you simply going to take that photo and then export it as a 32 by 32 GIF or an 80 by 80 GIF? You're not going to get this. So again, this can look deceptively simple sometimes. This only sold, and let me show you the moving version. This beautiful, beautiful work only sold for 10 Tezos to Demon Ego, by the way. I'll show you that in a second, but look at how beautiful this is. And again, that contrast between the moving pixels and the still pixels. So all of this wonderful noise, again, the pixel art, is this even a word? I want to say the pixel art analogy to paint splashes. It's just sort of extrinsic. It's not necessary to the work, but it kind of makes the work. This sort of stuff. This what might be called beautiful noise. And look at this great color. So there's a lot of interpretation that goes into this, and it can look deceptively simple. So this was made way back in January 20th, this work, and again, went to, within 20 minutes, to Demon Ego, who wisely bought that. So wonderful work from Cap'n again. So this, just a heads up here, this was sent to me from Xerox. I believe it was Xerox who made this. And this is a PDF. No way these Keith Haring's are real. And so this continues the discussion on the Keith Haring's here. So you can find these on Object. And here it's kind of like this visual essay of sorts that Xerox put together of the whole Keith Haring issue and debate and everything. So pretty cool. Look how pretty this is. And so anyways, thank you for sending one to me, Xerox. No way these Keith Haring's are real. And then here you see, I guess, the essay that he put together and the aspect ratio. Look at this. Okay, so just all very cool. So it continues over here, and you see a nice description here too. And there's an offer for 50 Tezos already, edition of 38 on Tezos. Looking at comments. Thank you for all the comments last episode. Let's just bring them up here. House of the Model, absolutely love exploration of stunning works in this space. I will say probably again that the curiosity and care you bring to what you share really opens up my seeing, thinking, and feeling. Well, it's almost back to that inspiration, isn't it? It's almost like this is the currency we're trading in. One could argue is inspiration, interestingly, and maybe all that I'm doing here is, conveying, helping, again, from inner space to cyberspace here, conveying the inspiration back into your inner space. I wonder if inspiration is what we're trafficking in. My kind of coffee thoughts of the morning. Continuing on, thank you for the and the awesome music also from last. Love that bass line. DJ Kiro, great episode. Thanks for showing my work. And yes, the commercials were only coming on the older episodes on Xbox. Also, I was not logged into YouTube when they came on, so maybe that matters too. So who knows? Maybe try watching some of your older episodes with lots of views as a YouTube guest and see what happens. Okay, so that's good. So I'm glad nobody else is mentioning ads, and it seems like a pretty kind of obscure case here, which is good. White Solitude, thank you for the shout out. And Salieri AI, thank you. And Denholmes Pearson, thank you for the positive feedback, everyone. This is awesome. And also, Mikey de la Creme, thanks for featuring Capadonna's Blues. Yes, the beard is raw AI from a text prompt. This is the first time I've used the Vary region feature in Midjourney. Also, I added the Wu-Tang symbol afterwards in Procreate, then upscaled the image again before and after. So it sounds like here, remember there's like this selection tool that you can use in Midjourney now? And it sounds like that's how Mikey de la Creme got these extra details, if I understand Mikey right. And then you see here, this, and let's just look at the other works. And then we have here, so starting to use Procreate as well. And here you see the Wu-Tang Clan. So starting to use Procreate in the process to say replace this and give it a lot more personality actually, and kind of a nice contrast, kind of matching here as well. A nice bright yellow, kind of working nice with these kind of blues here. This almost looks like a dark blue here. So thank you for the comment and sharing there. And Tater Tots, as far as that postcard, remember the textured postcard? It's printed on linen textured paper. So that is interesting. I've never heard of that. And thanks Ranix Steer P1 Deniris with that incredible work there. Pixel Rare, Kiro hilariously here. And I will put the link. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out, how to put the links to the videos. Great show. Thank you, KF and Quampa, everybody. Thank you so much. Just amazing. And yeah, so this is what I want to show. So this is the textured linen postcard. So that is what was going on here in this really cool work by Tater Tots. Ugo, a comment here. Digital art on Tezos is truly fascinating. It's a refreshing alternative compared to physical art marketplaces like Artsy. I don't disagree at all. There's an incredible diversity of artistic styles here thanks to our talented creators. I believe our community of creators could evolve into a full-fledged artistic movement. It may be early to say, but I envision a future where major names will emerge among those already present, as well as those who will join us. Yeah, in a sense, I would argue this has already happened. I think it is. It's just because, just because the art media, the official art media hasn't recognized it, doesn't mean it's not, like, to me, it's quite clear. Again, I call it the second generation of digital art. Like it's blindingly obvious once you're, consuming as much as we are, all of us are on a daily basis. Like there's no question. And you're seeing the influence back and forth. This is like a turbocharged, hypercharged artistic movement because it's all online. So it's not like we're in Paris in 1920 and it's like, oh, 2 months ago I was at Picasso's studio and I learned this and that kind of changed my thing. And then 6 months later I saw the Duchamp and that kind of changed everything for me. So then I did this. This is like, then 2 hours later I saw a different work on Twitter, and then 6 hours later I think it's already happened. I would argue it has already happened. It is and it continues to. It is happening as well. By continuing to support and promote art on Tezos, we could witness the emergence of a unique and powerful artistic movement. Let's remain committed to this sector because who knows what future digital art stars will emerge here. Yeah, like really interesting comments, first of all. I completely agree, except I would say it's already happened. And it continues to happen, and I think there will be definitely new people coming in with brilliant work as we continue to regularly see here, as well as discover people, at least for me, I'm discovering people that I hadn't seen before. But I'd argue it's actually many of those people that will be remembered are already here, and the work's already there. A lot of them could pass away today. And they will still be famous. They're just not famous yet. That's my that's how much kind of conviction I have in this. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be here as much as I am. I don't think I would, it wouldn't be, in my private universe, it wouldn't be worth my time, but this is worth my time. Like, this is amazing what's going on here. And so, yes, but I basically agree in spirit, but I'd just say it's basically already happened here. So continuing on, Greco-Rendo. So with a cool physical work here. So here's Greco with another painting. And an interesting painting, as you can see here. So it continues to be interesting, kind of a very small kind of Gulf flag. So in the distance, kind of the ambiguity, creating this massive amount of space by making this small little Gulf flag. Quite brilliant. It's almost like a Dali-like shadow there. So anyways, just great to see Greco GM. I follow Greco, by the way. That is a Twitter bug. Cableen. I'm so happy to have been working for Object almost since the beginning. It is an amazing marketplace where everyone is working hard with a focus on art, so I'm very proud to be a part of the team. And commenting on this post by Tezos, in the 2 years since its inception, Object.com has established itself as the largest NFT marketplace and aggregator on Tezos and a global leader in the digital art economy. So only 2 years. I mean, where you think of Cap'n, 2 years. And you see how much is happening, and then you think of like these traditional artistic movements. They happen almost over, years and years and like decades, and like look at the Impressionism, maybe since the 1865, and then I guess let's call it 1890 for the just to paint roughly here, and of course you had Monet's after that and post-Impressionism, but that's 25 years. What is 25 years of this going to look like? And if we're going to get 25 years, you could say we're in year 3, year 4. So just as far as like the whole blockchain part of this, and it's an important part of this whole digital art history, I would argue, because the thing is there was no, I would argue, credible way to sell digital art before the blockchain. Now you have that. So I would argue, the economic engine that powers this scene, as I like to call it, is it's financial incentive. There are people from all around the world. Captain's from Costa Rica, often from places like Argentina or Turkey. Both places with inflation problems, not accidental, I would argue. And so, this, I would argue, is creating another kind of wave, a second wave of digital art. What, again, I'm calling partly, we could kind of group that as second wave of the second generation of digital art is happening, I would argue, as a result of the financial incentive. Okay, it's free market. I mean, it's tempting to see it that way. Feel free to disagree. And look at this, Dina Chang, who we had an awesome space with. I was almost like, we should bring Dina Chang on, but she was just on like a month ago, I feel like, or 5 weeks ago. But Dina Chang, our next curator, Dina Chang, needs no introduction. Past curatorial endeavors: Glitch Beyond Binary, Sotheby's New York, Metallica's 72 Seasons video album, and Refraction DAO's exhibitions in Miami and New York. She is currently co-director of NFT Tuesday LA. So she has put together a show on Object One, and she has curated it, and it will be dropped, I think, on Wednesday, September 21st, I believe, or Thursday. Maybe that's a Thursday. So that's cool. And Kika Nilo Leila at Tez Art Montreal. So a few photos from Tez Art Montreal. So happy to have my work presented there last Friday. Amazing to see the Media Memory Collection followed by new series Flu. And I think we have one of these in the AI section of the program. They have 11 years between them, but I see the invisible lines that link those two projects. Check the YouTube video of the event. Oh, so there's even a YouTube video. I didn't even see that. So very cool here. And there's Kika Nicolela's work, and we're going to see which she did this very moving work with her family in it, and family photos using AI, I think. Here's another one, Salawaki. Big shout out. It's beyond amazing to see my work in another country and being shown outside of the screen. Thank you so much, Franchu Eka, for including my pieces. And so here we are again. So they did a really nice job, as you can see here. And there is Salawaki's work on the wall. So very cool there. And here's one more shot. And this this isn't Strano. I think this is someone else. We know this artist well. Not sure which one this is, though. The name is escaping me, but more just photos from Tez Art Montreal. Looks like a pretty cool production, and there's the kitchen. That is hilarious. Okay, into the work we go. Nuv 1914. So more brilliant work here. Just fascinating work from what I'm tempted to call a gradient artist here. Nuv 1914. Edition of 3. Only 5 Tezos for this, digital Ferdinand Léger, but different. And yeah, it's not even just like for this beautiful work here. For this beautiful, beautiful work. And there's just something about it, hey? And the color and everything, it's just super original and charming. Even the gradient here, using using the tools as they're asking to be used, here with the stars in the sky. And it looks like these two casual encounter, these two bodies in conversation with each other. Observation of the sky, maybe, is Observación de Cielo. Another work, only an edition of 3, still available, 7 Tezos. Gotta love the knees here and the awesome grass. So a much different take on the gradients than, say, Dan Control here. And so beautiful work here. And look at how these ones are kind of grayed out. Just very, again, it takes a lot of courage to make this kind of work to a certain degree. To start putting gray gradients on top of like a star, like you really got to be thinking outside of the box. So really interesting work. Small editions, very cheap. Tango from Nuv 1914. So a busy weekend here for Nuv 1914, and just super interesting framing device here. This big green frame and this couple here doing the tango with more stars in the background. This is sold out. And I think we have one more, Pensando en Ti. So not sure what that means, maybe thinking of you. And here we have the person just kind of hanging out with a heart. I mean, just incredibly original work here. This is selling for 900 Tezos on secondary from Curio Fringe. So that is awesome. Zwoso. I think I discovered Nuv 1914 from Curio Fringe. Check this work out. More kind of alternative digital art, or indie digital art, as I like to call it. It's totally wild. So original. So original. So what is going on here? 3 Tezos, edition of 25, still available. This stuff, yeah, I mean, and again, this is just another recent discovery over here. And these, Zwoso has been around, I think, for years, I think. We'll look closer. We're going to keep tabs. Dan Control with a new work, Sea and Seagulls. And just a beautiful beach landscape here. And you see the sun, and again, another gradient work here with some animals put inside. I wonder if Dan is reusing the seagulls. I'm not sure if I've seen them before, but you can almost guarantee they will be used again. And so, cool work here, edition of 50 for 4 Tezos, Sea and Seagulls. The warm waves advance while the flight soars. Nice copy. Mental Noise, 5th week, Fog in the Mirror. So this is an edition of 15 for 35 Tezos, and just an interesting work here. This was on an earlier work by Mental Noise, this kind of figure here on a trading card. And interesting in the bathroom here, and there is a Pepe and everything. So kind of figure looking in the mirror, and things are different within the mirror. Interesting work, Fog in the Mirror, edition of 15, 35 Tezos. Dana Ulama shares a collaboration with Gordon Zuchold. And I'm not sure where the collaboration is, but I've never seen Gordon Zuchold's work, but it looks great. I mean, Dana Ulama palette for sure. And just a cool kind of futuristic city here with some great kind of light billboards. So again, kind of vaporwave meets sci-fi. Really just cool work here. This is Matt Kane. So this has been coming out, and Matt Kane's a pretty prominent artist on the blockchain, particularly on ETH, and does a lot of, I don't know too much about Matt Kane, but does some like programming. I had these kind of, I think, landscapes a couple of years ago, which did really well. Step outside from single bursts of hype. We're going to take our time and dive deeper into these works. So it's just released this kind of series. These portraits will be released in waves. They're called Anons, or anonymous people. Anons and their multitudes every couple of weeks. So just kind of interesting work here. Interesting, like, mark making, probably done with programming. And this was also, so you can start to see, you know, like, it's like there's an original image and it's just been processed so many different ways. And now here's a different one. But you see, again, this kind of patterning here, almost like Van Gogh type paint behind here. So almost playing with that whole idea that we're seeing with Human Kernel, which is, you know, the hair is a certain kind of patterning. The background is a different kind of, you know, patterning. The face is a different kind of patterning. The shirt is, it's kind of similar in structure. And let's see if I can bring that back. I can't. Okay, we'll keep going here. But it looks like interesting. It looks like it's going to be dripping out over the next few weeks. So just a heads up there. Bad Brain. Look at this awesome, awesome, awesome work by Hasdrubal Waffle. So maybe referencing the band Bad Brain as a kind of inspiration. When Hasdrubal, or D. Thibodeau, when they were on the space, he was mentioning how one of the ways that he kind of comes up with ideas for his art is he just kind of keeps this, like, you know, list. It's like a Word document, basically, where he just, if he has an idea, he writes it down. So one could imagine he took Bad Brains, the band, and thought, oh, I'll make it singular, Bad Brain, and then I'll base a work on it. And then here's this figure with brain that's kind of bad, let's say, or just kind of, it's actually beautiful with this beautiful brain here. And look at these huge textures here, almost like spray paint textures. Kind of has everything we love in a D. Thibodeau work. And the animation is awesome too. Just the way that this, you know, this kind of circulating, like, lips and cigarette and nose and eyes and smoke coming out here, beautifully animated. And this awesome texture in the background, like, it's all there, and that spray is spectacular. That kind of cycles through. Edition of 6, let's just see. Sold 25 Tezos from Little Cakes to Fangers. Great deal there. Someone got it for 15 Tezos. Pretty good. It's so beautiful work here, as usual. Ugo, who we just saw the comments from, GM Coffee Time. So, of course, Ugo had that huge selling horse that was at the top of Zora here, using this cool kind of style here. And here we see a coffee cup, very kind of geometric and kind of pixelated out and patterned out, shall we say. GM Coffee Time at auction for 5 Tezos. Edition of 10. A couple of more on-chain works from Spiegel's Maskinen. So, again, we've been seeing what are probably very low sized files. Like, that's one of the tricks, I think, if you want to put a work on chain. 2 colors. Yeah, you see this? 6 kilobytes or 5. Like, you want to keep it really low, stored on chain. So again, these have all been selling. This one this one hasn't sold yet. This one's 0.22 ETH. Xerox, cool title, Spiegel on chain. So this is part of an entire series. It's very interesting to see. And this one did sell to Dr. Lee NFT, again, for 0.22. Not nothing. I mean, that's like almost $400, like $380. We have another one kind of using this kind of old technology that is dithered out, 2 colors. You know, almost one of the first things I ask, it's like, look at this one, 4 kilobytes. So that is pretty cool too. So yeah, you can really keep it low, these files. I mean, that's half the art here, is keeping it low. Because if, again, you can't put a megabyte work on, like, it probably costs you thousands of dollars to mint a 1 megabyte work on chain. But if you put 2 kilobytes or 4 kilobytes, you probably can afford it. So pretty interesting. Woodprint, a new work by RJ, which seems to be using the Mac Paint, maybe the old Mac Paint. Remember we were talking about Capman's work that opened this show and like all these kind of painting with patterns? At the bottom, you can basically see that at work here. You see all these different patterns, and then RJ is using different patterns to paint with. So very cool. And what is the title of this? Kind of seems to have a Japanese feel to it. After Susan Kerr, a pixel pioneer. And almost feeling like tongue-in-cheek here, because of course the Keith Haring show was called Pixel Pioneer, so I'm not sure who Susan Carey is, so I'll have to look that up. Edition of 10, 20 Tezos, and that is from Ugo. So Ugo is everywhere in today's show. That is hilarious. And only $250 on Primary. So a pretty reasonable price there from RJ. And continuing on, Vargard and Lagojo in collaboration. This is called The Vandals. And so cool kind of work here where you see the fire kind of beautifully done here in a kind of staticky fire. And then a cool painting and some guys on the street kind of having a run-in with the police as this guy is doing graffiti. Now, interestingly, under the graffiti itself is kind of alive. It's kind of dynamic. So not only is the fire dynamic, but the graffiti is, which kind of adds a whole other, it's almost like it's drying or it's like, you know, the paint is dripping a little bit. Nice effect. 7 Tezos, edition of 15, 8 are left. Very cool. 1, 4, and 6, and Study of We're All Gonna Make It, or WAGMI #1. And so here you have a Pepe figure and a pirate flag being sewn. It looks like almost like Vermeer's lace maker or something, vaguely, with some modern shoes, almost some Magritte-like curtains here. Interesting study, as it is called here. 1, 4, and 6. 5 Tezos, and there are 10 left. Let's keep going here. Wasteman Goldminovich, Twilight of the Idols. So maybe a reference to Nietzsche here. And we see this is, I believe, Ronald McDonald and Colonel Sanders here. Happy Now? So putting another spin on Twilight of the Idols. Ronald McDonald, Colonel Sanders in the tags there. And there Colonel Sanders is maybe throwing up on himself a little bit with a cigarette. And Ronald McDonald, and there is the chicken that maybe is getting revenge on the idols, so to speak. And there's some McDonald's filter cigarettes, hilariously. And continuing on, Katerina Create with a new 1 of 1 nostalgic head. And interestingly, almost like you see children's drawings here. So this kind of nice line art, and then over top is like a layer of children's kind of mark making, shall we say. Collaboration with my daughter from the past, Sweet Memories. So interesting, kind of enigmatic work here, and it's quite interesting. So it looks like whoever put maybe it is a daughter, maybe it's just and a character that Katerina Create's making. It does look like they saw the underneath area, because you see here it's like an eye. Because it's interesting, I guess what I'm trying to say here is sometimes it's interesting to take a layer from one work and then just to put it on another. And you get all sorts of weird things that you would never do rationally. So this doesn't seem to be that. It looks like there's the layers underneath were seen as a reference. Just a cool work, a 1 of 1, and it sold for 20 Tezos to Emir Gork. And that took just a few hours, 8 hours. So nice work from Katerina Create. This is Kitasavi, Nonchalant, and so an abstract work here on Zora. Kind of 3D abstract work using programs I know not what, but making cool kind of mark making. Has a bit of a 3D feel to it. You wonder, is this like a Blender doing like 3D paint? Not sure. Cool work. Looks like a free mint on Zora. Yuri J with some experiments here. TR #1, maybe that means transition #1. So here's the first one, and I believe they're 1 of 1. So kind of wild abstract work here. And you're going to see here, so that one was an edition of 15 for 8 Tezos. Now you're going to see it's the same structure, but colored differently. So we're back to this idea of using layers for more than, it's kind of back to this tension of digital copies. Of course, these aren't digital copies exactly. Certain layers are probably being reused, and then different kinds of experiments in coloring is being used. Transition number 2, and here's transition number 3. You can see it's the same structure, but different coloring techniques. This is also a 1 of 1 for 60 Tezos. So interesting series here. Again, if we back up here, see that? When we look fast. So just interesting way of working and of releasing. And I think it's totally legit. Like, I mean, it follows the logic of digital art. Like, this is what digital art, when you're an artist and you're making art, this is kind of what digital art is asking you to do, which is to make 25, 30, 50 different versions, because you can. You can. And so it brings up a lot of interesting issues. And I mean, is this any different, really, from analogously from Warhol using a screen print and then just following the logic of screen printing and making a million copies of his, Marilyn or Coke bottles or Elvis? Is this really that different? So very interesting. Skamra with some interesting works here. Pure GAN 2. So GAN, I think, is some sort of AI. So interesting kind of abstract pixelated AI from Skamra. This is an edition of 10 for 3 Tezos. And there's another really interesting work by Skamra, Santiago, created with science and diffusers, textual inversion. So this is AI, I guess. And so this is an edition of 16 for 2 Tezos. I wonder if this is Santiago the artist or just if that's a fluke. Look at how awesome this is, though. It looks like it's painted, and then this arm gets totally dragged over. You have this beautiful texture in the background. You have whatever is going on down here, and the figure itself is pretty originally done. You have this nice kind of edge on the arm, nice edge here, interesting color, texture, very interesting. You wonder if it's Santiago, who is, as you can see, it takes a little longer to load Santiago's works because they're so massive. 14,000 by 10,000 pixels. So again, playing with orange in the work here, in this massive work, loving there's a kind of dance going on in these works here. Like they are, I like how Santiago is switching it up, having a lot of fun with just the composition of these abstract works here, and with the size of the, samples or detritus, as I like to call it, or brushwork, digital detritus, art about this planet and our generation. And here's another one. See, look at the originality here. Goblin Island shaping signals after the end of time and space. Another cool title here. Another massive work, almost 15,000 pixels by 10,000 pixels. Very, 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 very interesting. Playing with composition here. And this one almost has a bit of a Paul Klee sort of feel, some of the early work. I think it was Paul Klee. That was kind of semi-abstract in the way that it's kind of spaced out a little bit. This is 10 Tezos edition of 20. And let's speed up a little bit here. P1, Bitomoyo, 003. So we saw a kind of pixel art stained glass in last episode. I had almost the name of that chapel I was thinking of off the top. Almost had it right there. But kind of, again, stained glass pixel art sort of feel by P1. Still only 2 Tezos 10 Tezos cents. There are 9 left. So get it. There are still some available. Here's another one, Bitoyomo number 2. And again, playing with this kind of spacing. And it's quite beautiful. And I like this framing, this 1 pixel frame here too. Very interesting work from P1. Edition of 10 for 2 Tezos 10. There are 7 left. Some interesting works by Kyle Flemmer that are basically free. They're 10 cents, 15 Tezos cents. Homer 2, so some nice pixel art here from Kyle Flemmer. Here's another one, Fire. So just really nice works here. Interesting kind of framing device here, almost like a drop shadow. And one more, Inter, 15 by 15 pixel close-up, framed and enlarged in A-Sprite. And this is an edition of 33. And this one, is this sold out? No, not listed yet. And here, this was super interesting. I missed this. Manidal and Not a Number collaborating. Caddy Leap, beautiful looking work here. And here it's interactive. Let's see if I can get it working. So as I press the mouse, the cat, I can play the video game. How cool is that? So beautiful colors, by the way. And there's actually a video game inside here. I mean, incredibly enough, I assume it works. And there's the cat on the video game. Brilliant color, I might say. Brilliant composition. I love the Rubik's Cube, the Polaroid, everything. It's so fun. And it's just a beautiful work. And kind of nice, like, it's not overly symmetrical. Like here's like a billboard, but here's shelves. It's got a little bit of the contrapposto, so to speak. Here it's big, here it's small, right? Then we put the, do you know what contrapposto is? Contrapposto is in Greek sculpture where they're not just the old archaic Greek sculpture, they're just kind of like this and they look head on. But what makes classical sculpture more interesting is there's almost like the weight of the figure is weighed on one side, and it sort of creates this balance in imbalance. Like it creates this kind of contrapposto where there's kind of weight being shifted, but it kind of creates this like beautiful, it's not symmetrical, but there's balance. And that is contrapposto. We can look that up in a future episode with ChatGPT. I bet we'd learn a whole bunch of really interesting, philosophical scholar assistant there, ChatGPT. Here's another one by Manidold, I think just released today, Meow Single. So I'm not sure if there's music here. Let's just see. I don't think so, but pretty cool. Just falling asleep next to the phone with more kind of cat music or something. Just really cool pixel art. This is on Solana, 10 of 20, and they're only $1.97. 10 editions remaining. Very cool. And one more from Manidold that I missed. This one was super cool. A cat riding like a merry-go-round, horse heart. That is brilliant. Edition of 25 and just beautifully done here. Look at the color. Manidold's like a master of color here. Beautiful, beautiful color. Horse heart, again, 250. Check this out. So this is Pamelo Cerrone. And this is, let me just, here. With some really cool music. This is with, who is this with? Nawel, right here. Again, cool music. So just like beautiful video material. Like how cool. And the music, again, the music is awesome. I mean, it's real. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it? As people become more empowered with their media, whether it's YouTube or just, making stuff that they can sell on object through the blockchain, you wonder if the quality is actually going to get better. You could argue like the music scene has been pretty corporate the last 25 years, since the rave scene. And you wonder, because look at what we're seeing even here with the visual arts. What's going on here, again, it was Berlin Art Week, and I'm way more fascinated by what I'm seeing here. So, and we're seeing that with Ugo's comment. I'm not the only person that feels this way. So it's just all kind of interesting as things get, basically more decentralized, if the quality is going to improve. It's an interesting question. Continuing on, Mayu, continuing with the music pixel art theme here, Drummer. And so just a really cool work here. The skull character and the classic colors of Mayu. And capturing the rhythm and energy of a drummer in action. This is edition of 10. There are 2 left at 7 Tezos, 50 Tezos cents. And here's some more awesome music. Downtown Sanctuary by Green Ginger, with kind of a video game music theme. I think a lot of people, especially in North America, I can totally relate to this. There's some sort of park and then downtown in the background. Downtown Sanctuary. It totally reminds me of North America. That's kind of funny. So that is $4.50, and there's 10 left on primary. And Anis Abdin, this is probably an older work, but another just beautiful, I mean, pixel art work here. Kind of almost has like this Monet pixel art sort of feeling to it. Happy Friday. Here's to all of us who made it through another week of faking adulthood. Pixel art, Friday vibes. Really beautiful, capturing the season here beautifully. Anis Abdin. And here's another one, something to look forward to. Winter Love Falls Deeper. Look at how romantic this work is. So Anis Abdin posting a lot of, I think, previous works here, but this one's just incredibly romantic. And look at like the red light shines on the snow as it goes by. The artistry is gorgeous, and again, the color, it's beautiful, and everything about it is very romantic. The Davishi, another pixel artist on Twitter or X. This, remember we saw Captain America? Maybe it was Davishi too, not sure. And I was like, if I was Marvel, or again, Disney owns both Marvel and Star Wars. I think they bought Marvel for $4 billion, insanely enough. You can see Vader's funeral. Again, I think I could see this stuff coming back as pixel art cartoons rather than, like, to me, it's very fresh, and I think there'd be a natural audience for it. We're starting to see it here probably first, on Twitter. Vader's funeral. Maybe it already exists, but not that I know of. It's one of those things that once you see it, though, it makes a ton of sense. Pixel art is the account here. Timpers HD Forgotten Game. I thought this was quite poetic too. So almost in the cosmos or in the grass, not sure, maybe this is a Nintendo Switch, I'm not sure, but a old device here. So just very cool. Silva Santus with some Nintendo Glitch ROM. Through Matrix, Archer McLean Super Drone SNES. So that is the game it is taken from. So cool. It looks like a slightly more higher res video game than some of the other ones we're seeing. You see the lighting, you can tell by the shading. So that is interesting. That is only 50 cents, edition of 50. You see, like, this has the older feel because there's no shading. It's like comics, right? Like newer comics, there's a ton of shading, whereas the older comics, old Spider-Man from the 60s and 70s, they would just have the straight up fill in the outlines with one color like that. So you see a similar thing in video games. I guess it's just higher resolution. Anyway, Haiti Rocket in Paris. Cool work here. September 18th, brand new. It's got Haiti Rocket written all over it. And just a cool, Nintendo Glitch ROM. Almost some Japanese writing put in here. Just super rad as Haiti Rocket is. And here's another work here by Haiti Rocket, edition of 6 for 111 Tezos. Just really cool. Zoomed in. Muji with another work, Tech Alley. This is an edition of 10 for 10 Tezos. Looking like Muji's working with bigger pixels in this one. And these beautiful colors here as usual. These violets and green blues and this great cycling color here. Just gorgeous. Mech.txt. Now, this is not for sale yet. Offers are coming in. And a beautiful skull here with this great colors. We just saw this on the Anis Abdin, that winter work. Similar palette here, kind of gray, black, and red. It is a nice palette. And so interesting, kind of almost like a halo here, but maybe it's more like something just geometric or astronomical in the background in the sky. It's ambiguous. Gaping Nemean. Kind of looks like a dinosaur skull, doesn't it? So beautiful dithering. I mean, this is beautiful. So edition of 20 offers are coming in. Here's Demon Ego, who bought that beautiful ashtray at the start of the show from Cap in there. The clues I left along the way to help you find your bones. So very active work here. Again, using both physical and digital. And here, kind of collage elements. Really getting good, again, at this gorgeous. It's, again, as I was saying, and then Demon Ego agreed with, it's not easy to mix digital and physical. It really isn't. And just by doing it so many times, Demon Ego is really getting a feel for it. Just different little techniques along the way here being employed, taking the drawing and putting it animated inside, this sort of stuff. It all adds up. And look at this, like this thing at the bottom, almost this Egyptian Eye of Horus type thing at the bottom. Also kind of feeling Egyptian on top there, this beautiful kind of, just really cool work. This kind of geometric thing in the top right, contrasting with the still static work here. There's a ton of work going in here. Addition of 10 for 10 Tezos. Is it physical? Is it digital? Or is it both? And here's another Tyrant. I think interesting title too, by the way. One of one collection, visual by me, audio by Christopher. Let's see if we can get, there we go. Really cool kind of, for lack of a better term, PFP collection. Like an artistic PFP collection, super cool. 25th of September on Foundations. So dripping them out ahead of time. Dylan, whose work we looked at last time, Deep Look Digital Drawing. And remember we were seeing all the really reasonably priced one-of-ones that Dylan is making. So those are available on their page. This is also a one-of-one for only 7 Tezos. A really interesting artist. If you like the one-of-ones, you definitely want to follow Dylan. Cool work there. This was cool too. Lonely Boy posted this by Walking Wavy by Francois Vogel. And just kind of another take. Kind of has that analog video glitch kind of feel to it, but also looks original. Like it doesn't look overly sampled. It looks like maybe it's created. So just interesting, beautiful. And here's a work by Elna Frederick, who's been around and has released a ton of work. And this optical illusion here of these ballet dancers is beautifully done. And it's like you can see them dancing, but I don't know if this is moving at all. Like I'm looking at it, I see it moving, but I'm not sure it is. Interesting frame here too. So really effective piece here. Bar plaque. This is at 50 Tezos on primary. 50 Tezos each, so not cheap. Renki, Yanai. These are 11 Tezos each. There is 10 left. And here you see a different take from Renki, working more with black and white. And you see the texture almost has a graphite feeling to this one, but still digital. So beautiful textures here. And Yanai is a station on the Sanyo main line of West Japan Railway Company. So interesting. DT Bido with some glitch ROM sort of stuff. So let's look at what's going on here. So again, Hasdrubal Waffle here. It's kind of like some noise here in this video game. So interesting processing of the Nintendo glitch ROM. So pretty interesting. I mean, we saw this a little bit, was it with LB and a couple other people, where we were starting to see the glitch ROMs get that extra layer of processing with the analog video gear. This almost looks like it's put through somehow through one of DT Bido's like kids programs, because these are more the textures we see from one of those. Maybe it's that hardware, piece of hardware that he showed us about 2 months ago that he picked up. Really interesting. Coda Nakazono, Continuum number 151. Let me actually just look at the market there. So there's edition of 1. Let's just see what happened. Transferred to Fanger's Salt Pack. Coda Nakazono, Continuum number 151. So another kind of chunky pixelized work here. Kind of lo-fi and beautiful here. So super interesting. Great color. Edition of 5. This likely sold out at 15 Tezos each. So the lo-fi Coda Nakazonos are very popular. Look at this big folder. I didn't even see that. That is hilarious. Mika Oladev, Artifact number 141. I thought this one looked pretty original here. So we zoomed through the rest of this episode. Nice textures. Another portrait here of sorts. And DJ Kiro, Pastiliche. And this looks like painting that is put through an analog video sort of process here. So kind of glitched out painting. And here is another one, Cheetos by Kiro. And this has a bid from Awhack at 0.0535 ETH. So not bad at all here. A beautiful work here by Kiro, and this great orange. Look at all this kind of rich texture here. Beautiful. And Sky Goodman with a really cool pixelated work here. A little bit less able to believe. Interesting title, A Landscape Painting by a Landscape Painter. So interesting. It's almost like the AI artworks, the higher res ones are being kind of turned into almost very low res pixel artworks, perhaps. Edition of 9 for 9 Tezos, and this gorgeous, gorgeous portrait, commissioned portrait for 0. The Softest Consortium, also by Sky Goodman. So a beautiful one of one here. Really nicely done. And I think it said, look at all these great, great, great textures here and colors, very rich colors. I think Zero's wedding photo was fed into AI blending different images. So, and here you see some of the hardware here. Glitched, rescanned off a CRT with digital camera. So just traveling through the mediums from Sky Goodman. Kenexapta. This is pretty original. I believe AI. It is AI. So Kenexapta, a very original artist here. A bold work with some AI pixelation here. And here we see the outline of a computer. So this is 2 Tezos 68 Tezos cents, edition of 13. Here's Islay, floral pixel landscape, blue cloud. So some more pixelation here. Again, this looks like AI pixelation, doesn't it? So this could get interesting over here, this AI pixelation. Beautiful textures, some plants, floral pixel landscape. Edition of 20 for 5 Tezos, and Memory Horizon, Vista AI. So maybe that's the software. A beautiful rendition here of, again, some plants and some just what look like soft objects, but not sure, in a big cotton candy cloud there. Memory Horizon, great title too. And Zoom with a one of one for only 25 Tezos here in the, I think it's called Post Room series, a really nice addition to the collection here. And again, the plants in the foreground, the landscape in the background, and then the architectural device dividing them. Really nice piece, 25 Tezos, Post Rooms number 8. And Lily Illo with a really cool work that was posted here. Just, again, these great AI distortions where the legs almost turn into hands, the feet turn into hands. Beautiful work here from Lily Illo. Just gorgeous. And this Sad Wanderer dropped my way live on Foundation. So I never even saw this artist before. Has a really cool feel to it though, doesn't it? So this is a preview of some of the images, and this drop is going to happen pretty soon. Just a nice feeling. So that is Sad Wanderer. They are on Foundation, and they're only going to be 0.015. That looks like there's 40 available of 42. And Shirley Preston, up and early and ready to party. So someone at the bus stop. And look at this, I found this static a really nice effect and pretty original. It's done on the glasses too here. So this AI artwork with this just beautiful static. There's something about it that is just quite beautiful. I don't know, it's almost like a surreal how they're able to get that effect. But I guess it's just, static noise. Midjourney and Photoshop. And this is Little Cakes, Corn Dream 1. And this is an edition of 6. Let's see if we can get this loaded up. And there's the corn in a room. And I think there looks like some grapes, perhaps. And so playing with vegetables here and architecture in this AI artwork by Little Cakes. Somewhere between illustration, collage, and photograph is this Haze of a Dream. Little Cakes on 01. So Little Cakes is on 01. And here's the work by Kika Nikolela, Flu Triptych. So it's pretty wide here. And it's 2 minutes, 42 seconds. So we're not going to be able to see everything. But I believe this is using pictures of the family. Nice drone. Sort of go through it a little bit just to give you a feel. So you can check this out on Object on Kika's feed. So nice homage here. Pretty moving with the music here too. And beautiful colors. I like the monochromatic color, but done with AI. So a big triptych. So you can almost imagine 3 big projector screens here, right? Or 3 TVs. So really cool, adding more color at the end. So cool work from Kika Nikolela, who I just met a couple of weeks ago. And she's very nice, and that was a ton of fun. We all went for Chinese food afterwards, and it was delicious here in Berlin. And this is Paper Doll with another cool work here, discovering their work, a cool AI artist. And Paper Doll was the one we saw last episode where there's the image on the wall and then the person sitting in the foreground. Kind of a similar theme here with the ballerina almost in the foreground in real life, quote unquote, and then pictures of a ballerina on the wall. Beautiful AI artwork from Paper Doll, Paiper doll. And this is my friend Charlie, Charlie Stein, Virtually Yours, Absent Kiss, putting out some beautiful work here. Charlie got brought on to this gallery, Christian Hilligerdi, and we've been looking at that gallery quite a bit. I should have asked her how to pronounce Hilligerdi, but let's just say I'm right. And you know what's interesting? This is a pretty prominent gallery right now, up and coming and prominent. And as soon as it's incredible what that can do to someone's work being brought on to something really special. Because now I'm seeing this kind of next level work. Like it's really just kind of interesting and beautiful. She's really taking what she's doing and taking it to the next level. And sometimes just encouragement will do that to people. So Virtually Yours, Absent Kiss, great title, acrylic and oil on canvas. Here's my friend Ben, actually out of Berlin also, who does a lot of memes. So I'm wondering if this is a crying Mary here. I'm not sure, crying tears of blood. Again, water-based oil paint on paper. Just nice work here. And then here, this was posted by Lily Illo. And this is AI1 Wang. So I wonder if this is AI. That would be astonishing, wouldn't it? Because it looks like a really cool kind of figurative work. And this is NUV 1914 with, I believe, a physical work. It looks very physical. So NUV 1914 showing that they can also work physically here, showing their range, not for sale. And this was listed on September 14th. I think Curio Fringe might have retweeted that. Luciana Gueroque, and of course, Luciana does those great works on Super Rare. Here is some physical work, a physical drawing of monotype collage and graphic elements like pencil, chalk, charcoal. So mixing a lot of mediums here to great effect. So beautiful work here. Look at how great that looks. On physical work, but being sold on object as an edition of 12, there's one left on secondary at 75 Tezos. Very cool. And of course, the artist here, and I just have to keep pointing out, this is Walk, and I just have to, who I do follow. This is a Twitter glitch, by the way. This is on Zora, and you have to just, it's really incredible how Walk is able to get these incredible, get these forms just with these splatters. It really is astonishing. Even the 25025, beautifully done. And here's another one by Walk, Car. And of course, this looks like the Tesla Cybertruck, I think they call it. So again, something very modern, pop culture references, beautifully done, and just super cool from Walk. One of my favorites. That's your show, everyone. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, take care.